today.
Thank you for joining in. It is a complete pleasure to have you today on EVA Talks. Thank you for signing up for this, and let's make a very small impact to help communicate more about our community as we talked backstage.
Sounds great.
So, just to start with, let me introduce you to our speaker today. Annette Gregg is a highly respected leader in the incentive travel industry with over 30 years of experience in event management, incentive travel, and conference planning. She is currently the CEO of the Society for Incentive Travel Excellence, SITE, a global organization dedicated to enhancing the awareness and effectiveness of incentive travel. Throughout her career, Annette has been recognized for her outstanding contributions to the industry, receiving numerous awards, accolades for her work. She is sought after speaker and thought leader, sharing her expertise at industry events and conferences around the world. And it is known for her passion and dedication to the incentive travel industry and her commitment to driving positive change and innovation. She's a strong advocate for the use of meaningful experiences that drive business results. Thank you, Annette, for joining in today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
That is so great. So, Annette, let's start with the conversation. And I have a question for you. Could you please walk us through your professional journey and share some major milestones achieved over the years?
Sure. Well, like many of people in the business events industry, it wasn't the path that I thought I would be on in my early career. I went to university for politics, international relations, and after a couple jobs in that area, a friend of mine who was working for an association in their conference division said, "Hey, do you want to come sell exhibit space at our trade show?" And I didn't know what that meant at all, but it did mean that I was able to travel and go around the world with this association. And it was my first job in the industry, and I really never looked back. So since then, I've had just a great variety of jobs. I've had jobs for associations, corporations, agencies, and I've also been on the supplier side, worked for 2 destination management organizations, so 2 CVBs, and then also a DMC company and a convention center. So I'm so grateful for this career path. It's just been a wonderful ride. And I've been able to experience things I never would have dreamed of. It's been wonderful.
This is so great to hear. Just like we discussed that, most of the people didn't plan to be here, but we are here and we are so happy to be in the industry. That is great. Now with this, Annette, I have another question for you. How has the COVID-19 pandemic changed the way meetings are planned and executed? And what lessons can be learned from this experience?
Right. Well, now that we're coming out of it and really business has recovered in such a powerful way, I think we can objectively look back and say, gosh, we may not have been ready for an absolute global shutdown of travel and how that would affect at least live events. I mean, you did see a wonderful growth of technology platforms for virtual events. And I think we ended up being very resilient and found a way to convene and meet because businesses still needed to get people together. So we saw that kind of really unique innovation during that time. But now what you're seeing as we really are into recovery and growth mode again is that it's undeniable that getting people together physically just has more of an impact for businesses. So especially on the incentive travel side, which is what our members plan and execute, incentive travel is all about recognition and reward. And that is doable. You can do that with some non-travel incentives. There are some gift card programs and ways to reward people with non-travel, but we know from our data that incentive travel programs are the most powerful motivator for high achievers at these companies. And so for us in our industry, our part of the business events industry, it's been a huge recovery and there's a lot of interest in travel again, and these incentive program planners are aggressively trying to secure future dates for these incentive programs. So they're really, really coming back powerfully. I think the other thing that COVID did, in addition to underlying that we need to be together to reward people, it's really just how isolated we still are, as some of us are still working in virtual environments and in hybrid environments. And so we see that executive owners, so internal owners of these incentive programs, are really seeing them as a way to build team and camaraderie again. So it's also affected and increased the demand and the need for getting together in person, is just to get teams together again and build that teamwork.
That is so great. So I can say it has been, of course, it hit the market bad, but we are recovering, and that is a good sign. So let's just keep working on it, and I'm sure that we will be good to go. So with this, I have another question for you. What are the benefits of using incentive travel programs as opposed to general meetings for motivating and rewarding employees or customers?
Yeah. We have an annual survey that we do some research called Incentive Travel Index. And again, we know that over time, we've done this research, and we know that incentive travel is the most powerful motivator as far as top achieving teams. And we have both, we call it direct sales results from it. So we know that companies achieve higher sales results when they have a powerful and an attractive incentive program as a reward. But we also know, we call it soft power or intangible benefits of incentive reward. And that really is that kind of building loyalty and camaraderie and teamwork. And again, it's just back to being together as people. So we are really seeing now, as these companies are building back these programs, our data is showing that the way that the programs are designed is shifting also. So before, a traditional program might have been a little bit of education in the morning, and then in the afternoon, maybe a variety of different activities that people can just kind of do on their own. But now you're seeing much more intentional design around group activities and team building. And it's just like what I just said, it's because this could be the only time the team is getting together during the year. And so the executives and the owners are really making it count, and they're using it to build that camaraderie, maybe get a little bit more strategic planning done. And so they are interested in activities that are much more team building activities and hands-on activities with other teammates. Instead of just saying you and your guest can go on a tour of the city, it's going to be a group activity. So we're really seeing that shift in our latest data, that's what's important to stakeholders.
Great. That's great. So I'm sure that travel is something that all of us look forward to, and incentivizing it has been a benefit. All right. So what are some of the key trends and innovations in incentive travel programs that companies should be aware of?
It's an exciting time for experienced designers. If you're involved in any kind of incentive travel design, so you could be the owner of the program, you could be the agencies that's executing it, or you could be the DMC, destination management company, that's on the ground. Because what we're seeing here, because we're coming out of the pandemic, we're seeing a lot of demand for experiences, and we're seeing a demand for kind of these once in a lifetime experiences, because the ability to travel was taken from us for 2 to 3 years in some destinations. Now you're really seeing that these owners, they don't want to lose time. So let's get out there, let's get our top qualifiers on these amazing destinations, and really looking for innovative experiences when they do get to these destinations. So they do want something new. The other thing that you're seeing is a shift in the age of people that are in business. So if you look at the demographics of the people in business are retiring out. There's a baby boomer generation that is still the largest generation in the workplace, but they are retiring out. And you're seeing by 2025, largely the workforce will be 35 years and younger. And that is not only the participants in these incentive programs, these top qualifiers will be younger, but also the people planning them. And if you look at some of the values of some of these Gen X, Gen Z, and millennials, they do they're very savvy travelers. They've already been around, they've seen a lot, and they want to experience something different. They also want something that's very authentic. So you're seeing a demand for very authentic and immersive activities on these incentive travel programs. I gave an example recently where one way, think of if you have you're in a destination. Let's just, we'll say India. And you have a top Indian chef coming in, and he's doing a cooking demonstration for the incentive program participants. And he's talking about the local spices he or she uses, and then he does maybe a demonstration, and then maybe the teams break up and they do a cooking competition. Well, what you're seeing now is, instead of that happening, you're seeing now a little bit more of, okay, what if we took the participants out to the local market with that chef, and he shows them how he shops for those spices and the products he chooses, and then he takes them to his restaurant, and they can actually get into the kitchen and cook the meal in his restaurant. So that's the difference of immersive and in the community. So there's real demand for that authentic, immersive, and participatory experiences.
So I think with this, we have a conclusion that demographic collaboration with experiences is very important for us to look in incentive travel. That was a great point that Annette has shared with us, and I think we should keep it in mind while we plan our incentive travels next time. Thank you, Annette. Now, with this, I have one final question for you. Is there any message that you would like to share with the industry right now?
Sure. Well, I think whether you're planning incentive travel programs or conferences, trade shows, I mean, it's the same message. Well, there's two messages I'd like to leave. And we've been saying this for a long time in the industry. But the first one is really just know your audience. The other demand we're seeing is for real personalized experiences. So if you're a consumer and you're shopping online, we know that technology is now going to deliver products, services, marketing ads based on your behavior, right? It's going to track your behavior while you're online, and it's going to deliver relevant options for you as a person. Well, in the events world, that same consumer is now your attendee. And so how do we take those consumer trends and we use them in our planning for our audiences? The more that we get to know our audiences and your participants, and we can deliver options that are relevant for them. You can use technology as an enabler, and sometimes it's just it's not a technology need. It's just can we work with our local providers to create options that our audience really wants, a few different options. So that's the first thing, is find a way to make an even more customizable and personalized experience. That is going to be more and more important to people as they come back to your event, your live event. That'll make the most impact for them, and that'll get them to participate, because still we're seeing some hesitation with people coming back to these events. So we want to make sure that while they're there, we're making it meaningful for them. And I think the second thing I'd say, Radhika, is just let's make sure that we all, as participants and employees in this ecosystem, business events ecosystem, that we can articulate the value of getting together. And why that matters, why face-to-face interaction matters, how that moves businesses forward, how that changes cultures of companies. Because what happened, there will be another disruption, right? We don't know what it'll be, but we've seen them before and we've survived through them. And we just don't want to get caught off guard with having to answer why we shouldn't cancel this annual meeting, why it needs to stay as an investment for the company, because it does move businesses forward. So let's just make sure that we all can talk about that and can advocate for our industry into a larger audience.
Yes. I think that was a very important message that Annette has shared with us, that, it is very important at this point of time to be able to do what we can and help the company in the same way. That was so good, Annette. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing about a topic that most of us would not be talking about every day, and talking about the industry and making a
Yeah.
difference that we can. Thank you so
Well,
much again for joining
you're
in.
welcome. Radhika, one last thing you and I talked about is, how do people find our industry? And I just say if anyone is looking for a career path that it's highly, there's something for everyone in the
Yes.
live events and business events sector. If you're someone who loves technology, you can find a home that way. If you love marketing, event marketing is a huge part of it. If you like face-to-face engagement or sales, if you're a creative person, we use that in meeting and event planning. If
Yes.
you like educational and curriculum design, if you like
Just
public
like we
speaking,
discussed about experiences, creative people,
it's
we need
true.
creative people for experience designing. So, of
It's
course.
true. It's a wonderfully fulfilling career, and it's just so diverse that sometimes it's hard to find it in the marketplace because it's not just like a lawyer or something that's very one. You know if
One
you
thing
want to be
that
a
you have to
lawyer,
do.
and that's what you're
Yeah.
looking for. But in the events world, it could show up as a marketing coordinator. It could show up as a different title. And so if you're interested, if any of those things are interesting to you, find one of these associations that are in
Yes.
our industry, and just I'd say go to a local meeting and kind of see what it's all about, because it's a wonderful career path. It's been so fulfilling for all of us that are in it. We absolutely love it.
Yes. And I think it has been great till now. So, yes, of course, we are all votes for joining this particular industry and talking more about it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Annette, again for joining
Yeah.
in and talking with us. It was so good. Thank you for taking out time, which is very important. And thank you. I hope to see you again.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you guys for joining in Eva Talks. We will be back with another interesting episode just like today very soon. Thank you for joining in.